This narrow stretch of the Gulf of Corinth, with mountains on either side, makes a natural wind tunnel. A flexible bridge is good for withstanding earthquakes, but it's bad when it's windy. Even with the dampers to soften the movement, near constant winds in the Gulf mean the bridge would be swaying constantly.
An impossible choice then for the engineers. Make the bridge flexible enough to cope with an earthquake. And on normal days, when there isn't an earthquake, it would swing so violently it would be uncrossable thanks to the winds in the Gulf of Corinth. But make it strong enough to cope with the wind by fixing it firmly in place. And when there is an earthquake, it'll snap and crumble into an 800 million euro pile of rubble. The answer to their conundrum lies in this fizzy pop can.
Engineers don't usually design things to fail. They build them to withstand the daily challenges they will face, to be strong and rugged, and to stay that way.
Helpfully for the Rion Bridge, an inventor threw away the usual rules of engineering after a frustrating picnic. He needed a new way of opening a can.
The humble tin can has been around for 200 years. It can keep produce fresh for decades and transformed the food industry. But they weren't designed for easy access. Getting into them required some muscle. That changed when inventor Ermal Fraze came up with a new way of opening them, which revolutionized cans and protects the Rion Bridge.
Yep, this is a real picnic, just on my own. Ermal Fraze found himself on a picnic with a canned drink.
But someone had forgotten to pack the can opener.
Being a resourceful sort of chap, he managed to wrestle it open on his car bumper, but that took all the chrome off the bumper. So he went away and thought about the problem, and he devised the pull tab, precursor to today's stay tab. This weak section here is designed to be strong enough to keep the fizzy drink contained within, but weak enough so that by hand, without any sort of machine, you can just rip it open. This has to fail at a set limit. It has to fail predictably. Oh, yeah. And it does. I've made a bit of a mess of my picnic, though.
In the right place, making something fail predictably can be the difference between life and death.
For instance, you might recently have reorganized your workshop and tidied away a load of cardboard boxes into a corner and then inexplicably soaked them in petrol for some reason, and then decided to catch up on that bit of angle grinding you've been meaning to get to for so long. Oh no! There's a fire! That could be a real problem without predictable failure, which is what's just happened. This is a sprinkler system. I installed it myself, which is fortunate because I've forgotten where I put the fire extinguisher. It's pretty much exactly the same as a sprinkler system you'll find in schools and buildings across the world, but it's a lot uglier, but it works in exactly the same way. Disaster averted. And here's how it works. This is the sprinkler system. The job it's got to do sounds pretty complicated. It's got to automatically detect a fire and then automatically put it out. But the way it does that is pretty simple. This is the kind of thing you will have seen sticking out of the ceiling in offices and shops and schools. These are connected to a water pipe along here. Now, before they've been triggered, they feature this little glass vial. This has been designed so that at 68 degrees, it breaks.
The red liquid boils at exactly 68 degrees. That makes the pressure inside high enough to break the glass.
That's the predictable failure. They can predict 68 degrees, that goes. When that happens, that falls away, and it opens up the hole here, so the water can just flood out, hit that disc, and form the sprinkler effect, putting the fire out automatically. And it's all thanks to a predictable failure in there.
Engineers have adopted the pop-can principle of predictable failure all over the place to help us go about our daily lives safely. Think circuit breakers, such as fuses that cut out when electrical circuits overload, or car airbags that inflate in an accident.
So, where are the predictable failures in here, then? Because it all looks massive and solid.
Okay. What you have here is the deck. It is laterally supported by the dampers. And in the middle one, you have what we call a strut.
Inside each strut, there's a so-called fuse. It's designed to break at a set limit, just like a ring pull. When the load gets too big, it fails. The fuses can take the load of even the strongest winds, but when an earthquake hits and the load exceeds the preset limit, they break, and those huge viscous dampers start to work. And this isn't just theory. This CCTV footage caught the action in June 2008. A magnitude 6.5 earthquake hit the bridge. The fuse snapped and the dampers sprang into action. It worked.